Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. Keep your hands up and keep your head on a swivel. The Haymakers and Submissions podcast is here. We woke up and chose violence today. Stick and stay for combat sports talk at its finest, coming your way now. And this is the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. Welcome, everybody. My name is Drew. I'm joined by my guy, Chops. Chops, how you doing today?
Good, man. Good to be here. Great. How you been, man? You know, it's cold out there. It's not Detroit cold here in Atlanta, but it's cold for Atlanta, brother. It's cold. It's cold, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not enjoying this. I told you before, I grew up in the cold. I loved it. Used to love the snow. Matter of fact, real quick, in college, if we had a tour, we'd have a Madden tournament, right? Mm-hmm. So we have Madden tournament. You pick your team or whatever. And I mean, each guy put in $5-10, depending on what it was, you know, no more than 10, no less than 5. We're college students, but we'd have 30-40 guys in this tournament. I mean, it was big. Cool. So of course, say you're the Lions, I'm the Steelers, right? And we'd have games in 2 rooms. One of the rooms was my room, right? My roommate and I, right? So the way the schedule goes down, Drew, you could play hypothetically the Packers, right? Mm-hmm. And it would be field this one or whatever. We had field A and field B. My room was A, his was B, whatever have you. So your kickoff could be 1 o'clock on Tuesday. You might have class at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So it's up to you. Are you missing class or are you playing in the tournament? You know what I'm saying? Are you missing class? Or are you playing in the tournament? So
priorities.
Yes. So we're doing that, right? And we made it so it wasn't during finals week. So some people might have missed the test, but it wasn't a finals, right? It wasn't final, right? So if I'm home, you get, like, when you're home, you got to pick the day or time and the weather, whatever have you. So if I'm the Steelers and I'm home, now we're doing this in January and February. So we're just starting the semester. Nobody, because we had come back and had a little Christmas money, whatever have you, right? So in doing this, we're January and February in Pennsylvania. Where I went to school was considered like in the snow belt, where this area got more snow than like a large area got more snow than the surrounding areas. So you're playing me and I'm home. I would take the fan. It's a college dorm. You know, they're not that big.
Oh no, 10 by 12.
Open the windows, open the door. I put a fan in the window. So I'm not lying to you. My room feels, I mean, literally, I'm not lying to you. There was snow on the carpet in my dorm room. And that's how much I used to love the cold. I remember guys like complaining, Mills, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Mills, come on, Chops, you're killing me. But it did not. That's how much I love the cold. That even we're playing Madden, I put a fan in the window in January, February in Pennsylvania, and I loved it. Now, I don't even go fishing if it's below 55. Can't even do it.
Yeah, I can guarantee you I would have missed a few classes. Man, did you guys, before we get into, did you guys ever get kind of nasty? Like if you got my schedule and say, hey, Drew's got a 6 to 9 on a Thursday night. Well, that's too damn bad because we're playing at 7 o'clock Thursday.
No, we wouldn't do that. However, let's say for sake of argument, you're playing and you're decent. You're pretty good, right? If another guy knew, like say you were playing me, and another guy was like, man, I need Chops to win. I can't have Drew win. I need Chops to win. He could, like, guys came in the room to watch. Mm-hmm. Nobody could stand between the guys playing and the TV. But you don't need much room because you're on your controllers. But as many guys could fit in a room, Now the rule, nobody stands or sits on my bed. But anywhere else you can stand, take your shoes off. You can stand on my chair, whatever. You're good everywhere else, right? So if you're playing, guys would come in and they'd be like, yo, Drew's playing. I need him to lose, whatever. And you could have in my room, you could have 7-8 guys playing or watching, if not more, and they're all rooting against you, talking trash, you're terrible, whatever. So guys would definitely do that, trying to get in your head. We didn't schedule anything purposely because we had so many guys doing it. We couldn't get everybody's schedule. So, and we were like, what's your schedule? Guys like, we figured guys would lie anyway so they could get out of whatever have you and when their schedule was. So we just scheduled it. If you chose to play, you chose to play. Now, we had $5 tournaments. $5 tournaments were smaller. We might only have 10, 15 teams. But if we did the $10, that was more when we had bigger teams. And if you had $10, it was double elimination. It was double elimination. If you, and like, say I'm talking to you, right? Say you and our partner Justin, say you both want to join, right? If you know the tournament's coming up, if you come to me at 12:30 and say I want Detroit, if Justin comes to me at 1, I want Detroit. Sorry, he's already taken. You know what I mean? So you picked your team. So if you have multiple guys who like the same team, you had to get there. So that was it. You know what I mean? That was it. Yeah, man, we used to have a good time, and I love the cold weather. I can't do it now, Jack.
Man, we could do a whole show on college video game playing experiences.
Oh, man.
Sports. Definitely.
Oh, my goodness. Without question.
All right, let's jump into it, Chops. We're going to talk a lot of boxing. We got the fight card of the century. Don't get that twisted because we're only 25 years into it, so we got.
I know.
But it's an awesome card. But we're going to talk a little MMA first. We got a fight coming up, Fight Night 252 coming up in Seattle this weekend. Let's talk about this.
And you know what? And I'm not even going to get deep into it because the card as a whole, for the average fan, they're not going to really know the names. You got Cejudo, who they call him triple champ. He's won belts in 2 different classes, and he was also a Olympic champion, Olympic wrestling champion. He's on the 2. He had retired. He had retired at the top of his game, got the bug, wanted to come back. He's on a 2-fight skid. He's on a 2-fight skid. Now, he fought for the belt, and he was so, you know what I mean, both times. So he's fighting the best of the best right out the rip. You know, Dana, I'll be honest with you, Dana doesn't give too many guys easy ones coming back. And he's triple C. You're like, you don't have to earn your stripes. You're already, you know, you've already laid the work. You've already done it. So we'll give you those shots. So, and also, man, it's crazy because right now Cejudo is 16-4. Mm-hmm. He retired 16-2. This is going to be his last win was in 2020 against a guy now who is retired. You know what I mean? So he's 38. So it's rough. Now, the guy he's fighting, Song Yadong, he has 8 losses. He's 2-2 in his last 4. But now between those losses, he sandwiched a couple wins. He lost to Corey Sandhagen and he lost to Peter Yan. Peter Yan, a monster. You know what I'm saying? Peter Yan is one of the guys who beat Cejudo. And then you also had Corey Sandhagen he lost to. Sandhagen's a gamer. Sandhagen, win or lose, Sandhagen comes to bring it. You know, now Yang Shadong, I know he beat Ricky Simon. I can't think of the other one he had sandwiched in there. Now you got Cejudo, who's 38. You got Song Yadong, who's only 27. So technically still in his prime. Now, this to me, being honest with you, is a classic tale of 2 fighters. Yadong 5'8", Cejudo 5'4". Cejudo's significantly stronger than him. However, he is a much better striker. And he goes by the Kung Fu Monkey, I believe, Kung Fu. Where Cejudo, he's a wrestler all day.
Yep. He
wants to take you to the mat, drag you into the cool, deep waters because his wrestling and his conditioning is second to none. You know what I mean? So that's what it's going to be. So if he, as in Cejudo, can fight his fight, get it to the ground, he's probably just gonna end up roughing Yadong up, if not just punishing him. Ref end up stopping it. But if Yadong can stay on his feet, that's gonna be the hard part. You got an Olympian cat, you know what I mean? And when he lost to Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan both have great ground games, and they could also mix in some striking. Where Yadong has a great, you know, his stand-up's nice, but his ground game it's not near where Peter Yan's was or Aljamain Sterling. So because of the age, I'm gonna go with Yadong. And it's hard for me to do that, to go against Cejudo. It really is. Mm-hmm. I know he's on a 2-fight skid, but world-class guys he lost to. I'm not putting Yadong in that stratosphere, but because of his age, because of his speed, I'm going to go with Yadong. I don't be surprised if Cejudo comes out and whitewashes him all 5 rounds if it goes that far. But I'm going to go with Yadong. When, you know what I mean? Like I said, 2-2. He's fought a little bit more recent. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go with Zhang. But again, if you like fights, watch the card. I'm just not going to get into all the rest because for most people, if they're not big and deep into it, they're not, it's like we talk about Penn State wrestling. I like Penn State wrestling. I could get deep into it. They just wrestled Ohio State last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great match, hell of a match. But if you're not into college wrestling, that's why we don't get into it a whole lot on here because a lot of our listeners aren't into college wrestling. But if we have more of a following for college wrestling, I'd love to chop it up with some of that. You know what I mean? But it's at UFC, it's MMA. So if you like it, please watch, and we'll go from there, brother.
Should be awesome. Let's talk about boxing now. Man, we were going to preview this fight, Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Schofield, but then all of a sudden, Floyd Schofield pulls out due to illness, and that's morphed into he's very, very sick, and it's morphed into now his father, I believe, Chops is
small business. Create your.
Excuse me, sorry about that, brother. Sorry about that.
I was like, "What's Siri's talking to me? What's going on?" Anyway. Schofield's dad now is accusing Stevenson of having his masseuse put something topical on him to make him sick and poison him. It's getting soap operatic anymore in the world of boxing, Chops. What do you think is really going on here with Schofield?
I don't know how this works. I really don't. I don't know how this works. But that doesn't sound weird to you. Why are you using his masseuse? And when you say his masseuse, does he travel? He as in Shakur, does he travel with this masseuse? Or this is the masseuse he hired over there? And then he said, yeah, go ahead and get my man. I don't know. You know what I mean? They claimed food poisoning. But let's not forget, Schofield had also said he missed the press conference coming over to Riyadh earlier and blamed somehow that Shakur had stolen his passport. You know what I mean? So he's just full of excuses, man, and that's it. There's a difference between excuses and reasons. I'm hearing a lot of excuses. Now, on the one hand, he is in Schofield. He's only 22. Now, we've seen some other young cats, at 21, 22, do some work. And this could have been this was a major opportunity for him. But let's remember, man, you and I had spoke about it, and even Shakur spoke about it. Forget about it. You and I had spoken about it. I wasn't sure if Schofield was going to show up because when he missed that press conference, that was huge. That was huge, man. Because this was your shot. No disrespect, because we love ESPN when it's on, whatever have you, a Prime Boxing Championship when it was on Fox. But this wasn't ESPN. This was pay-per-view. You were on like you said, possibly one of the best cards, this century, you know what I'm saying? So you're on against a big name. This was what you needed to get on the map. Seriously. You came up with excuses. Your dad is getting into it. What is that? When did we get to church? When is that? What is that?
It's like I said, it's soap operatic. I mean, now Eddie Hearn brought something up. Apparently there was, I don't know if it's contractual. I've not heard much about this, Chops. I don't know if it was contractual, but apparently there was a midweek weigh-in.
Yeah. Did you see on Friday, your boy put out a tweet, a little video, whatever it was, Schofield, he was 138. Friday. It was on the 14th, I want to say. It was the 14th. Mm-hmm. You're 138 on the 14th. Weigh-in is weight limit's 135.
Okay.
You're losing to I don't understand why that's an issue. I saw the video. When he pans down to his feet, I'm 138. Drew, you have a whole week to lose, or even if it's midweek, you have midweek to get 3 pounds off. You know what I'm saying? For most guys, that's a good hard sauna session.
Yep.
I mean, 3 pounds may be a lot, but you know what I'm saying. You had enough time. So I heard that, but I wasn't, and I was putting credence to it and thought there was something to it until I saw the video. He put the video out, and then it was like, well, hold up, man. How is that an issue when you put the video out Friday. You put that video out Friday, February 14th, 138. You know what I'm saying? So, and to be honest with you, that's all I had seen. I had seen the video. Okay, cool. Then Eddie Hearn says that there was a midweek weigh-in and made it sound like he didn't think your boy was going to make weight.
Yeah.
But then I also heard Eddie Hearn say in an interview that they pulled him because he spent a night in the hospital. And you spend a night in the hospital, no way they're going to let you fight. So it can't be both. You know what I'm saying? Because definitely you spend that night in the hospital, you're now making weight. You know you're going to lose this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I just don't. And here's also and I understand I'm a dinosaur, I'm a relic. When I was growing up, when you got into a fight, first question was your father would ask, did you start it? Because if you start a fight, that was a problem. Yeah. None of the dads in my neighborhood went for a bully. Mm-hmm. Number two, if you came home and you lost, a lot of times dads were like, get your ass back out there and fight again. Mm-hmm. Get your ass back out there and fight again. None. I'm telling you flat out right now. I cannot remember not one father in my neighborhood or in my town watching their kid get into a fight or knowing their kid's getting bullied or in a fight, and they go out and fight for the kid. Now that parents will do it all the time. Even for junior high kid, the parents are fighting high school kids for their high school student. That never happened. When I was coming up, man, I've seen dads grab their sons by the back of the shirt and throw them out the door. Get your ass back out there and fight again.
Yeah.
You don't come in here quitting. You don't come in here crying, whatever. But when whether it's Haney's dad, whether it's Schofield's dad, what are you doing? What are you doing? It just, I don't know, man. That's a bad look. That's a bad look. Here's my thing. What does this do for Schofield? And I say, what does it do?
It's a huge setback.
Yes. And you didn't even, because you weren't really on the map for a lot of big names anyway. So you really could have catapulted this into something huge. Oh, you really could have.
Heck yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now how you back out, you know what I'm saying? And now you're blaming other people. You blame them for your passport. Now you're blaming them. First I heard it was food poisoning. Well, that's a lie. First I heard saying he poisoned me. Then he's saying he gave his masseuse something to rub on me topical. So my thing would be this. If you walked into a masseuse and a masseuse is wearing gloves, isn't that a red flag?
Typically.
Because if it's topical, he or the masseuse can't risk getting it on their hands, so they have to wear gloves. Does that even sound right to you?
No.
You know what I mean?
Not unless it was like a liniment or something, like a Bengay or something like that, where someone, you know what I mean? But you wouldn't be getting a massage with that necessarily. Exactly.
So the excuses don't set well. But see, here's the thing. It's the generation we're in. You can make excuses and people forgive it. You really do. They really do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. But I thought he, as in Schofield, had a chance to make this, put his name out there and make this a good fight. He really did.
Oh, yeah.
Because your boy, he doesn't come forward a lot. So it could have been a very boring fight, because Schofield, to me, is a great counterpuncher, and he'll attack once you get him trapped in a corner, but he'll let you come to him.
Yep.
Now, this to me was that these two opponents didn't make for great dance partners, because one backs up, the other backs up. We're going to have to bribe him to meet in the middle. You know what I mean? However, with his power, I was going to be interested, because you're not really worried about Shakur's power. You're really not. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? So I was interested to see how that would work, but we'll see where he goes from here, man. We'll see where he goes from here.
So he's got, on short notice, Joshua Padley. He's out of the UK. He's 15-0. He's got 4 knockouts. He's 29 years old. So, I mean, he's not a tomato can, but it's a short notice fight. But any concern? I mean, if I'm Stevenson, I'm maybe a little bit concerned, but they obviously handpicked this fight. But nonetheless, a fighter that's 15-0, and he's only got 4 knockouts, chops. I mean, we're not going to dig too deep into this one, because I admittedly don't know much about Padley, but I give him credit for taking the fight.
Okay. Well, he got a huge knockout a huge upset against a fighter last year, Chamberlain.
Yeah, Chamberlain.
He was underdog, right? Whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now he's a 16 or 17-1 dog right now.
That's huge.
You're Padley. You're 55th, 57th, 50-something ranked fighter, okay? You've got nothing to lose. You're on the Riyadh card getting Riyadh money, so you would have to assume it's decent. They probably offered you a little more taking on such short notice. You have 4 days to get all your shots, make sure you're good and travel and get there, whatever have you. You know what I mean? So I applaud Padley for taking it because it's a win-win situation. Because here's the thing. You're not really worried about getting knocked out because that's not what Shakur does.
Yep.
If you can maybe even rock him or look decent, and even if you get whitewashed and lose every round but go the distance and at least combative and a little bit respectable as the way you perform, that can shoot your stock up. You're only 29. That may put you on the map. So for Padley, this is a win-win. Unless you go out and get knocked out within the first 3 rounds because Shakur doesn't knock anybody out. You know what I'm saying? If he can take it 8th or 9th or longer before even the ref stops, it's just you're so lopsided, too many punches. But we don't see Shakur beat people up like that. You know what I mean? So I think, but now to me, you know how now it would be, we've seen Buster Douglas beat Tyson. We've seen some upsets, you know what I mean? Some major upsets. Who was that? Donald Curry. Donald Curry back in the mid to late 80s. I remember being a kid.
Got him.
Yeah. And I remember my pops being like, he lost. And my dad, my uncle's right. So we've seen upsets. So it's possible. Don't think this will happen. But there's more bad that can go wrong for Shakur because if you don't win and in spectacular fashion, you can't get the big names to fight you now because you're a boring fighter. Let's call it what it is. You're a great tactician, but you're a boring fighter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know, man. What's your take on it?
Yeah, Padley's got house money. So yeah, he's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And Stevenson, like you said, honestly, anything short of an impressive win, it's just gonna cast further doubt on him in terms of being a big money fighter.
Yes,
he's gonna have to wait longer.
Yes.
So in a way, I feel for the guy because I really don't. There's no tangible evidence that he did anything, so I don't believe any of that shit. So
no.
I kind of feel bad for Stevenson. I really do. I think he's a very good fighter. You know, he's kind of a victim of his own style, but at the same time, it's been effective. So I wish someone would just say, okay, I'm gonna roll with you.
Yeah, and this is Turk putting this together, correct? Is this Turk? Okay, so think of the ramifications, right? I don't see Turk being a big excuse guy. Hell, you saw what he did when he called Canelo. He's like, dude, don't have your legacy being you're fighting Jake Paul. You're a real fighter. Don't have that be your legacy. You know what I'm saying? So if Schofield would have taken this fight, it could have meant the world to him. Now this is Padley's opportunity because let's be real with you. Unless it was Sheik or Turk, do we see Shakur unless it's Tank? I don't know if it'd be anyone else other than Tank. Do you see him being a pay-per-view headliner?
No, not in his own merit. No,
that's what I'm saying. Even if he fights Teofimo, that's not. I don't think that you think that'll be a headliner. It'd be a headliner on ESPN or ESPN Plus.
It's not going to be like. It wouldn't be a pay-per-view. I don't believe so.
Not if that's not to me if that's the headliner.
No.
So he had a chance to get
that because they're both very good fighters. I hate saying that, but it's true.
I know. But here's the thing. Now, though, you're on a card Turk's putting up. You can go out and now there's going to be major eyes actually seeing him now because he's fighting in a foreign country. And with Dubois, Beterbiev, Bivol on this card, Zhang, Parker, there's eyes already going to be on this card. So Shakur Stevenson, he can truly gain some fans, some followers, and get bigger fights because Turk will want to see them if he goes out and impresses. You know what I'm saying? Because you've seen it. Turk puts together the fights he wants to see, but you got to make him want to see you. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be an interesting Saturday, that's for sure. For Steven.
yes, sir.
Let's talk about the next one. We can't cover them all because we only got an hour show here. But
I know.
Zhang, Agit, Kabayel, huge heavyweight fight. No pun intended. These guys are monsters. Chops. I mean, it's an important fight for both of these guys because the winner, could be in line for something big, potentially. Especially if it's Zhang, Father Time ain't slowing down. He's 41 years old. Let's talk.
I know. However, and see, remember last week we talked about it. If your boy Big Baby had done some work, and he could have put himself right in the mix, because Agit Kabayel, like you said, if he impresses, he could do work. He could really truly launch himself. And honestly, in this one, he could. We'll get into it later, but the winner of this one could launch himself into a major fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got two big guys, and I think it's going to be a banger. I really do. I think it's going to be a war. I'm gonna start with Agit real quick, right? Mm-hmm. Come on. He doesn't have a whole lot of impressive names on his resume.
No.
And Wilder was a common opponent for both of them. Agit won in the decision where Parker knocked him out. No, Zhang. Zhang knocked him out. That was Zhang who knocked Wilder out, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But both guys throw nice hands.
Oh yeah.
They throw nice hands. You know what I'm saying? And right now I'm only talking about Kabayel. Mm-hmm. Kabayel, he works. He's grimy. He hasn't had a whole lot of tough competition, so I don't know if this is going to carry over with a guy like Zhang, who's going to be there, and he's going to hit you, and he's going to hit you hard. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see, because Kabayel, he comes forward. He doesn't run you down, but he comes forward. He puts his punches together pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? He throws a nice straight left. You know what I'm saying? So
he likes to go downstairs with that left and then come up with the right cross. If you know.
Yes. So what we talk about, we never see in heavyweights. He has a few punch combinations.
Yeah.
He has a few combinations. You know what I'm saying? But again, we haven't seen it against what we're even calling today's top heavyweights. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we'll see. He did beat Hrgovic. Didn't he beat Hrgovic a few years ago? I think he did. I think he did. Now, Hrgovic, to me, never end up being what I thought he was going to be, whatever. And I think Parker beat Hrgovic where Zhang lost to him.
Yes, that's true.
You know what I mean? Where he lost to him. And when he was younger, because I get to what, 27?
And he's a little older. He's
32, 33.
Yep.
32, 33.
But Zhang's 41, so it's
when Kabayel was earlier, he beat a couple undefeated guys, and I thought that was going to take his trajectory up, but it just didn't. It never did. I thought he was going to get in the same breath as Joshua, Anthony, you know what I'm saying, Ruiz. He just never did. I don't know what it was, but he just never did.
Well, now a win here could change that. Because Zhang's pretty hot right now. I mean, he beat Parker, he beat Wilder. He's kind of on a streak here. There's a bit, I wouldn't say a contrast in styles, but you got a southpaw in Zhang who's got a 3-inch height advantage over Kabayel, who's an orthodox fighter. Believe it or not, Kabayel has a reach advantage on him.
I know.
I was like, whoa, okay, that's
but if you see how wide he is, how thick he looks, you know what I'm saying? So, and he is the younger, stronger bull. It's just, but it bothers me that two guys, one in Kabayel, whose resume is not impressive, Zhang, who's 41, can win this fight and be propelled in the talks for major bang. You know what I mean? So, but we'll see. What do you like about Kabayel?
Well, like we talked about, he's definitely got some combinations that he likes to throw, which is good. And he does change his he changes that vision level. He'll go low, he'll go high. I like that. Zhang he's not moving anywhere, so you can hit him, but you're going to get hit. And he's got basically cinder blocks for hands. So my gut tells me Kabayel can pull this one out. But it's going to be a real close. I don't feel real comfortable with that. But I'm gonna go with Kabayel in a close fight, in a decision. How are you seeing it?
Here, okay. I want to go Kabayel in a decision, but I'm looking at Parker a little more, or Zhang a little more, only because Zhang has been in there with the bigger names. Zhang has been hit. Zhang's went the distance. Zhang has been where Zhang knows, even when he's getting tired later in the round, he knows how to slow it down. He knows how to rest, but still producing some numbers, as in throwing punches and connecting. You know what I mean? And if Kabayel wins, it will be because he's younger and has the fresher gas tank. But I think I'm looking for Zhang to do work and compile some points and rounds early on. So later, where Kabayel wants to come on, there may be a round or 2, 8, 9, maybe 10, or even 11. He is in Zhang can steal one of those. And because he's compiled so much in the first 5 to 6, he's okay. I'm gonna go with Zhang on this. And I'm going to go a late stoppage by Zhang. I'm going to go Zhang 10 or 11. And I say that because he knows how to conserve. You think he may be tired, but he still has power in those hands. Yeah. He still has power. So that's what I'm going with.
I could easily see that happening. I mean, like I said, I don't feel terribly confident, but I think Kabayel will pull out. But it's going to be a fun fight to watch. Anytime you got a fight like that where it's so close, it's worth watching.
And it will be a good fight. And I'm glad that's like the second or third time you said that. And I'm glad you're saying that and the people are listening, because it really is. Even if you're not familiar with these guys, they're going to be in front of each other and they're going to swing. You will see sweat fly off each other's heads when they're getting smacked. You will see that. It's just going to be who can both chins last that long, because there's going to be some punishment taken. Yeah. There's going to be some punishment taken. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this one. Definitely. I really am.
We got 2 heavyweight fights, and this is for the IBF Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Daniel Dubois, taking on the aforementioned Joseph Parker. It's a big fight, Chops, and the winner, obviously, IBF champion, and likely in line, at least you would think, to take on Usyk to unify the heavyweight championship again. How are you seeing this one shaking out? Let's talk about it.
Man, okay. Dubois is hot. I mean, he's hot as a pistol right now. You know what I'm saying? And even though he did get rocked by Joshua, because remember when he ended up knocking Joshua out, Joshua had rocked him and he was coming in for the kill, and then you know what I'm saying, got hot. However, he is in Dubois. He's hot right now. And I'll be honest with you, if he were fighting Usyk Saturday, even rather than Parker, this is a different Dubois than we've seen.
It is
definitely a different Dubois. He's putting punches together. He's more aggressive. Now, here's the thing. Parker is who he is. And Parker's hot right now, too. Parker's on, 4 or 5 fight win streak, right?
Yeah.
And let me see. With those wins, he's had majority decisions, unanimous decision, and he's had a couple KOs. Now, admittedly, it's 25. He hasn't had a KO since October in 23. And his last fight, he took unanimous decision, but he didn't even knock out Wilder. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Zhang, he majority decision, but it went the distance. So that is a little scary for me, because we know Dubois has the reach like Zhang, the power like Zhang. Yeah. You know what I mean? But his skills are a little sharper. He's going to pop that jab, and he's hot now, man. He's really feeling himself. So this is going to be a good one, but Parker does have some heavy hands. I'm not saying your boy Dubois can't take a shot, but I don't consider Anthony Joshua a knockout guy, a knockout artist. He's got knockouts, but I don't consider him a knockout artist. Mm-hmm. And Joshua stung him. And again, if Joshua would have been in his right mind, how would that fight have went? Because we know Dubois came out hot. He came out man on a mission. Going forward, there was not much backing up until he got rocked. You know what I'm saying? So, but Parker What is Parker? What's Parker's age? Parker is 30.
He's
33. He's 33. And young 33, just turned 33.
Okay.
Dubois is 27.
Correct.
27. So Dubois is just, to me, starting his prime or early middle of prime.
Yeah.
Where Parker is, he's I'm going to say he's getting up there, but it's later in his prime. He might have 2 real good years. You know, because you know me, I say normally about 35. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, he has 35 wins, 23 knockouts. Not against the level of competition as a Dubois, but he does have power. You know what I mean? And here's the thing. To me, Dubois is hot now, and he was even looking good against Usyk to me till he just fell apart and fell off the rails. What we saw against Joshua was surprising to me because that's not the Dubois we normally see. But that's the last we have to go on. We don't get a chance to talk about heavyweights' tool bags and their toolboxes because they don't normally show them. And because of that, right now, I'd love to say I'm going with Dubois to keep rolling, establishing that jab, doing this, doing that. He might do that, pop that jab for the first round, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. But I think Parker's going to keep coming. Will your boy have the fortitude to withstand there and go with it? I don't know. I'm going to go with Dubois because he's hot. Mm-hmm. But if you come to me and say Parker won knockout unanimous decision, I'm not going to say, wow. I will say typical heavyweight blew his opportunity. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that a lot lately. Typical heavyweight blew his opportunity. That's what I'll say. But I'm going to go with Dubois. He's been hot lately. He does have a nice jab. Parker has not looked impressive in his last few, but you never know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Dubois takes a unanimous decision here. Parker's 35-3, but like you say, he's 33 years old. Size-wise and reach, it's almost negligible. I mean, Dubois is just slightly like an inch taller. Maybe he has a half-inch reach advantage. It's not significant. They both hit hard. I do like how Dubois is a little bit more technical in terms of how he punches. I like his left jab, but I also like his left lead hook. That's a nice hook. And they both got tremendous crosses. I mean, you get caught with that at the wrong time, and you're both going down. It doesn't matter. But I kind of like what Dubois is doing. I think he's taken advantage of a situation where, let's face it, I mean, by rights, Usyk should be the IBF champion. I mean, yes. Why they stripped him is beyond me.
I know you hate the IBF. I know you do.
I don't like it. But this is his opportunity to prove he belongs and deserves it. And if he beats Parker, he puts himself in line for a rematch with Usyk. And I'll tell you what, we've talked about that fight a few times. Was that a low blow? I say no. That was a belt line shot he put on Usyk.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but it was ruled a low blow, and Usyk had time to regroup, collect himself, and to his credit, he finished the job. And I think that did throw Dubois off a bit, but it can't. Those kind of things can't. But it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I think it's gonna be a really good fight. Like you said, Parker's coming in hot. So I mean, even though,
well, if you think about it, he had TKO'd Kevin Lerena, Dubois. He was gaming. He was doing the things he needed to do against Usyk. Whether you liked or didn't or thought it was a low blow or not, Usyk didn't like that body shot. But he went away from it. He didn't even come back to it. Then things got a little hard. You end up getting knocked out. Usyk's not a knockout guy. Usyk's really not a knockout guy. Then you're just rolling off. What do you get? A TKO against Gerald Miller, a TKO against Filip Hrgović, and then he gets the KO against Anthony Joshua. Now, again, Joshua, when he got that KO rushing in, he got clipped. That's what worries me about Parker, because we don't see guys coming in behind the pendulum. We don't see guys coming in when they get somebody hurt with their hands up. They almost, a lot of these fighters look like street fighters when they get somebody hurt, just coming in and wailing away. Can't do that. Can't do that, man. Can't do that. So, yes, he has, to me, the better toolbox, more of an upside, a better jab. He has power, but it's at times, and I hate to say this because he hasn't in a while. He hasn't done it since your boy Usyk. He did it just mentally checked out. No, I'm not even saying mentally he checked out against Joshua because he was going in for the kill, just got clipped.
Yeah.
But when you're with a more powerful puncher, and I think Parker's a more powerful puncher than than Joshua. Not saying he's a better fighter than Joshua, but he does have power. Yeah, I think if he takes that same shot against Parker, that might be ball game. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, as we talk about this being one of the best cards in the last this century, 25 years in, I'm with you, and I'm going to be watching this one as well.
Well, we know we're going to be tuning in for this one because this is the reason we're gathering. Beterbiev Bivol 2, the rematch for the undisputed light heavyweight championship. Before we get into this, let's just kind of recap. How did you see the first fight going down? Because it was a very close fight, and a lot of people didn't agree with the decision that Beterbiev won the fight. How did you have it?
I had Beterbiev winning, and I think I had it 116-114. I don't have I think I had him winning by like 2 points.
Also, 113.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, I'm sorry, 150-113. But to be honest with you, I could have had it more lopsided. Because to me, I'm not saying running, but just the way Bivol threw his punches, because he threw more than Beterbiev. Beterbiev threw more than Bivol.
They landed the same amount, though.
Yes. But Bivol was backtracking to me a lot. I'm not going to say running, but he was damn sure using real estate. Yeah. And I'm one of those guys who has ring control. You don't have to punish a guy to have ring control. You can cut off when he moves here. You can make sure you're standing in front of him, or you can make him chase you when you're sticking, because what he's getting off, he can't get off what he wants to get off. That's not what I saw in this first one. That's not what I saw.
Yeah.
So I wasn't mad. I had Beterbiev one. I was mad that there wasn't more blood. I'm mad that there wasn't a lot more fighting in a phone booth. I thought there was really going to be able to fight this in a phone booth, just being honest with you. Yeah. So I had Beterbiev winning, so I wasn't mad with that. And I was just disappointed how it fell out. I know you were not as disappointed with me in this fight, in the first one.
No, I had the same scorecard, but I actually picked Bivol to win the fight. So I picked him to win it, but when I scored it, I'm like, nah, not quite. And here's the reason why. Yeah, they both landed a couple hundred shots in total, I believe. And Bivol was the more efficient fighter, but Beterbiev was busier. He threw more. And his landing percentage wasn't as good as Bivol. And Bivol was almost 50%, where Beterbiev was like 33%. But I like that Beterbiev was constantly pressing, like you said. He was busier. They both landed shots. I mean, it's not like Bivol landed more. He did not. And was he more efficient? Yeah, absolutely. I'll give him full marks for that. A lot of those rounds were very close, but again, like you said, he wasn't dictating the pace. He was not running, but he wasn't as offensive. It was like one step forward, 2 steps back. One step forward, couple punches, or 4-punch combination, and I'm a step back. It's a smart fight, but he wasn't hurting Beterbiev, and he wasn't stopping Beterbiev from coming forward, which is why the strategy ultimately failed.
And we've seen fighters where we say he's got to get on his bike. He's got to get on his bike.
Yeah.
Bivol was never that type of dude to me. Mm-hmm. He was never that type of dude. Beterbiev was coming in and he was just engulfing guys. There was no way you were just going to engulf Bivol. There was no way you were just going to make him wilt. But he made him get on his bike. That to me, and when you're on your bike constantly, even when you're landing, they don't look as solid because you're backing up. You're not. To me, that's what it was. It was the look of it. You're backing up. I'll be honest with you. I don't even remember the numbers, but I just had Beterbiev landing more power shots. And even if he didn't by CompuStat numbers, he just looked like he wanted it more. That's it, brother. That is it. The eye test. That's it.
So so I guess the question now is, let's talk about Beterbiev. What does he have to do to basically win again in probably similar fashion? But does he have to do anything different?
If I'm Beterbiev, I wouldn't do anything different because that's my style and it won the first time. Now, the thing is, that's not really Bivol's style. Bivol moves and he always uses the ring, but not the way he did against Beterbiev. Bivol is normally there to be found. He wasn't against Beterbiev. So if I'm Beterbiev, I'm not doing much different. If anything, I expect Bivol to want to fight more. I expect Bivol now to get the fight. What was this? 5-6 months ago they fought? 6 months, whatever. So if I'm Beterbiev, I'm expecting this time round, I'm going to get the fight. I'm going to get the Bivol I expected months ago. I'm going to get the guy. He's still not going to stand in front of me the whole time. I'm big, I'm strong. I don't know if he's ready for that. So I don't know if he's going to stand in front of me the whole time, but I don't think he'll be on his bike as much as the first time either. You know what I mean? So I expect to see this fought in more close quarters.
Yeah, and I think that leads right into my next comment I was going to make about Bivol. Bivol needs to be more assertive. He needs to press Beterbiev more, which, it kind of he ends up going in the lion's den, so to speak, because that's where Beterbiev wants him. But the only way he's going to overcome basically with the judges' perception and a lot of fans' perception is he's going to have to do more damage. You can land the same amount of punches, but honestly, I mean, nobody was cut up or anything, but Bivol definitely was more marked up than Beterbiev was after that fight, in spite of everything.
Yeah. Now
you'll be able to make that happen.
Okay, so now you said something to me because you reminded me that some people did have Bivol win and thought Bivol won that fight. Okay, so now that brings me to ask you this question. If you're in Bivol's camp and you think you won that first fight, do you tweak that game plan much? Because Beterbiev is who he is. He's going to continue to come forward. So if you think we won that fight, so we can do the same thing. However, we will stop and bang a little bit more than last time. We're not going to make a full diet of it. We're not going to, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to load our plate with uppercuts and right hooks. However, we will have a few more of those than we did the first time. Because you know what I'm saying? Because I thought about, I didn't think about that. Some people did have Bivol winning that.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were not happy about this. Quite frankly, I don't think it matters what his camp's saying, because I respect the fact that Bivol made no excuses. He said he wasn't good enough and needs to be better next time. He knows he needs to do more. He also knows it's a huge risk. It's high risk, high reward, and that's the kind of sport it is. But I think the more prudent view is what you just said, is he's going to have to engage more, but not necessarily, it's not one extreme or the other. I mean, because if he tries to be uber aggressive, number one, that's not his style. Number two, he's tailor-made for a knockout from Beterbiev. I don't care who you are. You're just going right into his wheelhouse, and that dude's too dangerous to do that with. But he's got to do more damage inside. I get, you don't want to stand there and take counters necessarily, but at the same time, you're going to have to give in essence. So
yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this real quick. Faster hands, Beterbiev or Bivol?
I'm going to give a slight edge to Bivol.
Okay. Better feet, in and out, side to side boxing, Beterbiev or Bivol?
I think speed-wise, they're pretty equal, but I think Bivol's just a tremendously polished fighter.
Exactly. Okay. Deeper toolbox, who could, you know what I'm saying? And I'll take, go ahead. Who do you think has a deeper toolbox, more ways that can hurt, not even so hurt you, but fight? Who do you got better toolbox?
That's where I like Beterbiev a little more, because he's more unorthodox. Some of those punches are going to come from angles you don't necessarily expect. True. He's technical.
True. Now, this is the only where we disagree, and it's hard for me to disagree only because Beterbiev is still coming forward. Yep. You may not see, but he's going to be in front of you. Yep. Now, Bivol can move side to side, this thing, get out. Now, if I'm Beterbiev, you're right. Or excuse me, if I'm Bivol, you're right. It's got to be a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a little rain and sunshine. You got to, you know what I'm saying? The rain is going to be when you're inside that pocket. We're both throwing leather. Yeah. We're both throwing leather. But you can't stay there too long because you don't want to get caught, because you are in Beterbiev's world. But with your speed, with your side-to-side movement, you know what I'm saying? To me, getting in and out, and that's the only reason why I was going with Bivol with the little better toolbox because he can box. He can stay on the outside a little better than Beterbiev can. But again, not a hill I'm on to die on. So in that aspect, to me, Beterbiev could be in trouble if Bivol says and sticks to it. I'm coming in, I'm going to dance, I'm going to use up the real estate. But when I decide that it's time to go toe-to-toe, for lack of a better term, or fight inside the pocket, I'm never throwing more than a 4-punch combination before I get back on my bike. Because once you start throwing more than a 4-punch combination, 4, 5, 6-punch combination, or sitting there, you're at that level. Beterbiev will time you. He'll time you exactly. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Bivol, I like what I did on the first time. I marked his face up a little bit, and I really didn't get stationary. I didn't get in the pocket like I should have. I know I can still outbox this cat on the aspect of eating up real estate, staying outside. That's in the bag all day. Yeah. But what I'm going to do now, I'm gonna step in there. I'm gonna step in that little, I'm gonna step inside the phone booth, and we're gonna go. But I'm not gonna make a habit of it in a consistent diet. I'm not gonna do it 2-3 times every round. I might do it once in the 4th, do it again in the 6th, maybe in the 9th. But when you know what I'm saying, just whatever, because you almost have to go back to. Remember when we just watched Killing Me, Stevenson, and Figueiredo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And we knew Stevenson could win on the outside. We thought inside it was Figueiredo all day.
Yeah.
But he more than held his own against Figueiredo. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if Bivol can do that, we might see a change into the guard. We really might. And so I'm still going to go with Beterbiev, but I do expect that I'm holding on for more fireworks this time. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised if Turk told him, we're running this back, and I want to see why. I know why I brought you guys here. I want everybody else to see why I brought you guys here. I would not be surprised if he got in there and told he called Canelo and said, "Don't let this be your legacy. You fighting Paul." You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm expecting this fight to be more like what I expected the first one to be.
I think Bivol has to be more active. I think he's going to have to sacrifice efficiency to show that he's working more. And that's going to help him a lot, because let's face it. I mean, you're not I know there's some judges that obviously put a lot of stock in punch percentage. I mean, and you should to a point.
Yeah, to a point.
But
to a point,
he's got to throw more, and I'm not sure. I mean, he was reluctant to do that a bit in the first fight. He's got to change that mindset. I think he will to a point, like you said earlier. But I still like Beterbiev in this. I'm gonna say 116-112 scorecard. I think it's gonna be a little more convincing. It's not a landslide, but I think he's gonna.
But for these two fighters, that is more convincing.
Well, and so, I think that's gonna be the possible drawback. He's gonna have to take that risk, Bivol, that is, and it's gonna cost him. But he's gonna go out on his shield, like you said. He's got to fighters do that, and that's what he's got to do. And if he does that, though, I think that's his best chance of winning, because it's the only way he could possibly hurt Beterbiev. And if he does, and it's a big if, but if he can do it, that changes everything. But if he fights him like he did the last fight, he's not going to be able to do that. Yeah, and now you're the challenger. You don't even have a strap now, so you can't say, well, champion prerogative. Well, now Beterbiev's got that. He's going to have that advantage. Yeah. So, but it's going to be I hate saying this because I thought it was a great fight and they're great fighters, but the first fight wasn't. It was a very good fight, but it wasn't like fight of the year.
It was good to you. To me, it was lackluster because I was expecting him to bang. Mm-hmm. Now, because of what the implications could be, I'd love to see Bivol win this and then run it back. I'd love to see. You know what? I don't even care who wins. I just want to see the leather thrown that I expected to see thrown, because they still, whether it's Benavidez moving up, some of them, or a round robin, what happened, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna go with Beterbiev. This is what he does. He doesn't have to change much. I'm gonna go Beterbiev on this one again.
And that'll be an interesting conversation to see after this fight, if Beterbiev wins, what direction does that take him? And if Bivol wins, a trilogy makes tremendous sense.
And big money. And Turk will be wanting to dish that money out to see it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's talk. We got about 5 minutes left in this one, Chops. Let's talk about 2 fights we saw last week. More importantly, we're going to talk about what the implications are. Abdullah Mason beat Manuel Jaimes in a light division fight, pretty impressively too. And we're high on Mason. I think the rest of the boxing world is starting to really take notice of Abdullah Mason. What's next for him?
Honestly, big dog, he's still fighting ESPN, hasn't had any big names on his resume, but what he's done and how he's done it. Last fight against Vasquez, got knocked down twice, comes up and still gets to finish. Took Jaime, what did he knock Jaimes down? What, 4 times before he took him out in the 4th? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And looked sharp, looked crisp.
He did.
He has said in interviews, whether it's Tank, whether it's Keyshawn, he's ready to fight whoever you put in front of him. Big dog, I told you episodes ago, he is my number 1 up-and-coming prospect. He's no longer a prospect. He's here. He's here.
He's here.
You know what I mean? But he looked good with what he's done, and he's impressive. And honestly, I think he's ready to call out a name, a decent name. I really do. I really do. Maybe because he's only 20, you'd like to see him get another fight, maybe against a top 15 opponent. Now, maybe not a top 10 yet, but give him a top 15 to see where he is and then go from there. But if he gets another fight in victory in spectacular fashion, Shakur, Haney, Tank, he's calling somebody out. He's calling somebody out.
I'd like to see Shakur and him go. I really would. I think that'd be a really nice fight. And yeah, I'm a huge Mason fan. I really like him a lot. Great, really strong. One last fight here. We saw Keyshawn Davis and Dennis Berinchyk, another lightweight fight. Keyshawn looked good. But Berinchyk, we were texting back and forth during this one.
And this is the great part about it, because we saw totally different things.
Mm-hmm.
Big dog. I was looking, and I rewatched it 2 or 3 times since first couple rounds. I'm watching Berinchyk throw punches where he was hitting with this part of his glove. He was throwing punches that weren't even. I'm like, what are you doing? Then I went back and watched Navarrete. You at least were closing. You were closing the distance. I understand Keyshawn is a different fighter. Fire styles make matches. I get that. You're not throwing punches regularly. You're turning right, left, southpaw to traditional, southpaw to traditional. What are you doing? Pick a style and go with it. You know what I mean? It just, to me, and I know, again, you don't know what he felt, but to me, those body shots didn't look vicious. They didn't look vicious. We've seen some body shots, you know what I mean? We've seen some cats get hit with body shots that shut everything down. You know what I mean? I still think of that liver shot that De La Hoya took
from B-Hop.
Woo! You could see the pain
in
De La Hoya's face. He could not get up. His body shut down. It would not let him. Berinchyk was just killed over, and they say 10, and he's like pretty much up. We saw Garcia take a body shot from Tank. As soon as they counted 10, he just stood up. That's quitting to me. That's discomfort. That ain't being hurt. De La Hoya was hurt.
Oh yeah, he was hurt bad.
I was not impressed with Berinchyk at all, and I thought but you got to give Keyshawn credit. They put that man in front of him, and he took him out. He took him out, and it was never in question. It was never even close. Never even close.
I think it was a strong performance by Davis. I mean, I don't ever think of him as really having true. I mean, he can knock people out, obviously, but he doesn't have that. He's not going to put the lights out necessarily. But I like the fact that he was able to chop a guy down. I like the fact that he went downstairs on Berinchyk. I thought it was a very surgical type fight.
Oh, it was a master class by him. By Keyshawn, he did whatever he did everything he was supposed to do. And you gotta think. Now, Keyshawn and Davis have fought at least on 2 or 3 cards together. So I know they know each other regardless. They have to. Young guys, both coming up, weight classes, whatever. Would you like to see that one, or would you rather see Keyshawn, now that he has a belt, go for a bigger fish? Do you want to see him call out Teofimo? Do you want to see him call? I'd like to see Teofimo. I'd like to see Mason call out Teofimo.
Well, I think Davis mentioned Lopez. He didn't call him out per se, but he said, "Yeah, if he wants it, I'm here." If I'm mistaken, about a few days ago, hell yeah, I'd like to see that fight. That'd be a great fight. That'd be a really good fight. I'd love to talk more boxing, but we're about 8 seconds to shut it down.
Out of time.
Excited to talk about these fights next week. He's Chops. I'm Drew. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check us out on the ESPN network on our Roku channel at 10 p.m. every Friday night. 10 p.m. every Friday night. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for watching the Haymakers and Submissions podcast. You can find us on the ESEN network on the Roku app every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time beginning on October 4th, 2024. Check us out on Twitter X. Our handle is @HaySubPod, capital H, capital S, capital P. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Just go to your web browser and type in www.youtube.com/@Haymakers and Submissions podcast, as we will drop content weekly. Whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling that gets you fired up, you'll get all you need right here at the Haymakers and Submissions podcast.